Good night, everybody. What's up? What's good? What's good? I hope you're having a good weekend. There's a lot in store. I know you've been through a lot of live streams tonight. There's been a lot to talk about. There's been a lot going on. As Chelsea won today, handsomely so at West Ham, as well as Brighton, shocking Aston Villa. Man City won, Liverpool trash Tottenham. So there's still a shout, guys, as we prepare to face you know, Crystal Palace tomorrow in the Monday night game. How are you guys feeling? Are you excited because tomorrow is match day Reds? What are your thoughts? Get in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm supposed to have my buddy Jarvis here and maybe one or two other guests as we're going to talk about the match preview as Manchester United prepares to take Monday night by storm as we face Crystal Palace. We need 3 points, currently tied on the same amount of points, just below on goal difference to Chelsea. So we definitely need a win if we're going to keep our say in getting fifth place or remaining in sixth. It's going to be a long one, guys. So you know what it is. Smash those likes and subscribe. And those of you on X, don't forget to give a retweet. Let's get this show on the road. Big up, everybody. And there's a lot to take in. Harry Maguire, shockingly injured, muscle injury, keeping him out of the tie against Crystal Palace. And I see a lot of you are in here. Big up to you, my bro, Alien Tenno. I hope you are well. I'm going to drop the link in the comments. So, guys, if anyone wants to come in and give their thoughts on the game tomorrow against Crystal Palace, feel free to do so. It's going to be welcomed. Welcome the interaction, guys. This channel is nothing with all of you, the fans, because it's always about the fans. Because we, you know what, we are the fans. Big up to you, Mark Davies. I hope you're having a great one. And Danny B, what's going on? What's going on, bro? The transfer window is gonna heat up soon, and I didn't do any takes recently about players coming in, but I'm saving that for next week because I think this week coming here on Wednesday, there's going to be a lot to talk about as well as we gearing up because we will be facing, I believe we're facing Newcastle on Wednesday as well after we play. It's going to be a very hectic week for us. We have 2 or 3 games to get in out of the way, and it's all going to happen by time Monday next week. So guys, get in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Big up to you, Box. I hope you're doing well. What's going on with you guys? What are your thoughts? Harry Maguire's out. We're possibly going to see Casemiro in the defense, partnering Johnny Evans. I was saying maybe we could drop Amrabat in there. It's going to be an interesting one. I see Jarvis is coming in, and I know he's ready because I was a bit late. Big up to you, Jarvis. I hope you're well, bro. How are you doing?
Hey Mark, hey. How you doing? Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I see people in the chat. We just finished the show with the MUFC Realist TV with Mick and Poppy. I tried to get as many as I could over here. So glad to see familiar faces. Mark Davis, Books, Danny B, Stephanie, always Stephanie. 7 likes already. That's great. Yeah, and Alien Tenno is here. Mark Davis too. So yeah, let's dig in and deep dive into the game because there's a tactical battle going on tomorrow. And we have this Oliver Glasner. I've been reading a little bit about him, and it's going to be exciting. So, what are you thinking, Mark?
Well, it's really interesting as you say that because, with Harry Maguire being injured was unexpected for me. I was expecting him to be favorable in this game because Glasner is one of those guys. He likes to play with corners. He's very good with corners from when he was at Eintracht Frankfurt, and I only know a lot about him because my best friend in Germany, he's a huge Eintracht Frankfurt fan. So he's
Uh-huh.
always dragging me to the games when he gets a chance, and always telling me, "Bro, I'm coming to watch the game with you." And then after, I'll watch the Man United game because that's usually the time.
Mm.
They play their games really early and us in the afternoon. So in the morning we watch Eintracht, and in the afternoon we used to watch the Man United game. And then he was in Europa League, and we was in UCL, and then it flipped around. It's just interesting. And Glasner, I respect him as a coach. I think he will do well, especially with a winger like Olise. He had a winger like that on the left side who was moved on after they won the Europa League to Juventus, and he's been a really good player for Juventus this season. So it's one of those things where I think Olise will be playing really well under him. Ezzy as well, as he possesses some qualities. I,
Yeah.
I would also say a little bit better than the player he had in his midfield, who was Kamara. So it's going to be a tactical battle. I think Eric Ten Hag is just going to pip him to the finish line. I think you know with the recent injuries we have, it forced our squad to probably accelerate certain moves. I don't know how some fans might take this, but I think Garnacho and Anthony starting next to Hoyland or even an Ahmad for
Mm.
either one of the two is more progressive front line that we could hope for, because it would bring a lot of quality on the ball in terms of retention and a lot of energy, as well as the drive to want to get a result. These guys seem to want to play for the team, want to play for the badge. I
Yeah.
mean, Anthony has had a poor season so far, but the last 10 games, I would say he's been really good. He's been probably got his confidence back. He got that goal, he got a few assists. So I think it's going to be an interesting one, but United need to come out of the blocks and we need to be very focused during that game.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, it's going to be a tough game, and the recent form of Crystal Palace is actually really good. They have 3 wins in the last five. They only lost against Manchester City. They won against Liverpool. They won against West Ham 5-2. They beat Newcastle, inform Newcastle with 2-0, and they drew against Fulham away. And always Craven Cottage against Fulham is a tough place to go. So they are actually cooking at the moment, and this Glasner guy, his tactics. It's very interesting. He plays this 4-3-4-2-1 formation. It's almost like a Christmas tree on top with the two number eights or two number tens. I would actually say Olise and Aye will probably play tomorrow. I don't know if Essay is ready. Have you heard anything about the injury?
I'm now pulling it up, but I think Ezzy is just like Bruno Fernandez. He's racing to get to match
50-50.
fitness as well.
Mhm.
So it's going to be a close one. We're going to have to wait, I guess, until the team sheets are or the possible lineups are out. I think, it's how to say it. It's like it was always going to be a tough one for me with Manchester United, but the change, I didn't really expect Palace to go for a manager like Glasner. You
Yeah.
think that they're one of those old school English style footballing clubs that play that English style of football, and now they're showing that their will to go progressive. So,
Yeah.
and he's been getting a tune out to these players. And the funny thing is, I'm not trying to say his system has been implemented faster than Ten Hag, but I'm just saying, for what it's worth, you gotta also give credit to the players who trust in the system, and they come out and give the same energy that they were giving to the previous coach before.
Mm, mm. Yeah, it's interesting, and this Glasner guy came from Eintracht Frankfurt. Frankfurt that's actually a pretty decent club in the Bundesliga for years and years. They have been around. Frankfurt is, I think, that's the financial capital of Europe in a way. They have a lot of money in in that capital, and good players. So it's going to be interesting to see how Glasner will do, because we all saw this, what do you call it, progressive managers coming in. We spoke a little bit about Postecoglou. We have speaking a little bit about the Serbi, but they seem to get found out after 10, 15, 20 games. So, but Glasner now is the new hot one in the Premier League. But how long will it last? And do Ten Hag know how to counter this progressive style? And how do you see Ten Hag playing up
I
against
mean,
like this? Because
I
we know they
think
will come with high press, they will come with intensity, they will come with a lot of off the ball movements. There will be a lot of things to keep hold of and track of at the same time, and they will attack
yeah,
with
I
force. And
think I think it's gonna be a different sort of game in terms of, like, as you said at the beginning, it's gonna come down to the manager's tactics and who deploys their tactics and and their players execute it the best on the field. I think He's going to be missing Olise. I see the predicted lineup on One Football says that it's going to be Jordan Ayew because apparently Olise is still injured. I
Mm.
think that that's good for us. I mean, not counting out the current performance of Crystal Palace, they're one of the teams in form right now at the moment. So I think it's going to be a difficult game. But you know, it's funny. Like the last few games I watched from this United team, I don't feel like the levels of effort and commitment from largely has been as the same as the first half of the season. I feel like they're improving, and it's mostly the players who are coming into the squad, like the Ahmad, and stuff. And I know a lot of people are thinking, Crystal Palace great form, they're gonna smash us. But look what happened with Aston Villa today. Today they lost to Brighton. Brighton
Mm.
lost their last 5 or 6 games in a row, and they just came out and they shocked Villa. Now I'm not trying to say that we're gonna come out and shock Crystal Palace, but if you look at the last few games, we didn't really play badly, like terribly. Our biggest mistakes were our clinicality. We were not clinical.
Yeah.
We create loads of chances, like an average of 20 chances in the last 3 games we created, and we just weren't putting the balls in the back of the net. And although defense is largely important, is I always would say it's very important for a team and players to, when they create chances, especially big chances, to put them away, because then it makes it puts the other team on the back foot. And if you can get 2 or 3 of those first chances put away, it's a shocking mental blow to the opposing team, and it gives you that breadth of space that you could operate, because you're not pressing now. As you could still press, but the other team now is more chasing the game. So
Mm. Yeah, I don't know when it comes to the game tomorrow. I see a lot of people in the chat. Jale Malmin is here. Never miss Rob. And Mark Davis, he has a question here. But maybe we can talk a little bit about the Ineos afterwards when we're done with the game. But this is a good question from Mark Davis. Um,
100%. I was just reading it. I just started right there.
yeah.
And like for me, when I look at it from this perspective, that United for me this season was always gonna have up and down. Like I
Mm,
was saying, we'd lose 10 Premier League games this season, and that was long before, since the beginning of the season. And I just felt like that because not just because we started the season with so many injured players. It's just, I just knew that this team wouldn't get the system tactics right, because if they're gonna try to play Ajax style
mm,
football, it's gonna take them a while to actually put that into practice and application on the field. Now, doing it in training is one thing. A lot of people say, you could train, 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 but training and training and training is one thing. When it's all on the line, is when it matters most. And as we used to talk about big game players who come into the game and they show up in the big nights. And yet, training is supposed to have standards and intensity. I,
mm.
I don't have a problem with that. But the level of injuries that we had, it really took away from us having a certain base to build on this
Not
season.
only injuries, Mark, but that's a good point. But I felt that we never started the season right. We were never like getting going in a way, and every time we had a good game, we lose momentum because of some idiotic national break or injuries all the time. When we won against Liverpool, 2 weeks off. Look at national teams, boring football, and we have had it all over the season again and again and again. Every time we look like we are going to get some momentum, it just fades away, and we can't really start up the season. And for me, that's a big problem. And it's a little bit unlucky, but it is what it is. And but this is the time. I think people are saying let's just end the season now and just focus on the FA Cup final. For me, that's not the right thing. I want to keep the momentum going up until the final, just to be ready. Because if you're down tool now, the final will be over in 10 minutes. We won't be ready. So it's
Yeah,
not like a switch you can just turn on and off. It's you have to keep it going. So getting the momentum right up until the FA Cup final is important, and this is an important game. We have to win this game, and we have to win. I would say we have to win Crystal Palace. We have to win Newcastle game. I would love us to give Arsenal a beating, at least get a draw there, and ruin their chances for winning the league. and finishing up with Brighton and winning that game too, and finish strongly in fifth or sixth place, securing Europa League football next season, and go into the FA Cup final with some momentum, some confidence, and actually believing in
It's
ourselves
possible.
that we can win against Manchester City. That's the most important for me. If we can do this, then we will do everything right in my book.
100%, Jarvis, and like we're not sitting here and saying that it's gonna be smooth sailing. We're gonna get
No,
3 dubs in the next 3 games. Like we just say in the next 4 games, we need to
it's
fight,
important.
claw, and scumbag our way to our victory if we have to. Because at the end of the day, we could sit here and argue about, oh, if it's not Europa, let's just be all the way out of Europe entirely, bro. That's going to affect our transfer summer big time.
Mm,
We definitely need to be behind this squad right now because they need all the hope and prayers and support that they can. Because there are guys on the team that giving 100% and going above and beyond. I mean,
mm,
Bruno played with a broken wrist the other day. Some of these guys be playing carrying injuries and knocks and thing. So it's like one of those things where you have to, like while the transfer window closed, despite your dismay for a player or not, the moment they walk out on the field for United, you have to support them because that's the only how we going to get the returns of they running hard and
mm,
chasing down that every second ball for the badge because we
mm.
supporting them. So yeah, it's not been a great season, but we could still finish in a decent position. I think, being in the top six all season for me, despite how we was performing, was still respectable for the most part because, in every single talk show and every single YouTube is always the top six referred to. So then, we were at a standard, in my honest opinion, which wasn't lower than a United standard for a poor season.
Yeah,
So
but now we are talking purely on results.
on
For
results,
me,
we
it's a
need to
lot of,
get them
and when you
next.
see other channels talk, they speak a lot of performance, and the performance has been below par in almost every
Yeah,
game. We haven't had, I would say, we have had a handful of good games this season in 40 games or more or less. So it's not good enough. I think we were good against Villa at home, good against Chelsea at home. We had one good game in the League Cup against Crystal Palace. We beat Liverpool, so maybe a handful of game, not much to write home. We have struggled against Coventry, we struggle against Luton, we have struggled against Sheffield United. This it's always a struggle with Man United, and this is what I think irritates people when it comes to Ten Hag. You never seems to like really dominate teams that we should be better than.
I mean, like when you say that, right, I 100% agree with that, right? Like for me, we supposed to beat Burnley, we supposed to beat Fulham, we supposed to beat Sheffield United, we supposed to beat all those teams easy.
Mm,
The funny thing for me is that when I look at those teams, because we doing everybody doing watch alongs for different teams, so you're watching the different games. I just feel like the effort levels was one of the biggest letdown this season for players. Like
mm,
I can't, and I'm not going to blame everyone, but it had certain games where certain key players in games, may not be the ones who would have started originally, or maybe some of them as well. Their effort wasn't there, their levels was not there, and it let the team down. Because if one player is not giving that extra effort, it strains the rest of the team,
yeah,
and then it's just one of those things. So for me, I look at it like, yeah, we had some bad performances. The manager did his best to adapt in some situations. Of course, he made, in that time he tried some things. He got some things wrong. He got some things right.
mm,
But it's one of those things where I just look at it. Second season, rebuild, all the circumstances involved. I could give him a light pass for this one time because I feel like if he didn't have all these injuries, we would be clearly at least 10, 15 points better, and that would put us in top four. And if I could, and that's the only reasoning I have behind that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, for me, I saw a glimpse of hope when Martinez and Luke Shaw was back. We played that FA Cup game against I can't remember the name. We won with a dodgy penalty at the end of the game, but Martinez and Luke Shaw was back, and suddenly we played extremely good against Wolves. first half. Uh, we got some injuries. Martinez and Shaw was subbed. Mainu scored the winner at the end, if you remember, against
Yeah.
Wolves. I think we won the game 3-2, and the game afterwards, I think it was West Ham, and that was then we was cooking really
And
good. That
then
was
and
one of
as
the
the
best,
game went
as
Kufal,
Stephanie mentioned, the West Ham game. So we could clearly see a progress and a really huge progress when we got those players back. So the injuries has been,
blue.
yeah,
Definite blue.
yeah. Mark, you have to address some of the good comments in the chat
Oh,
because I see a
let
lot
me
of.
start getting into the comments.
And if you give
Right.
me a
Yeah.
second, I will just fill up my cup and I will be back in one
No
minute.
worries. Big up, Jarvis. You know, what's interesting is Newcastle, Chelsea, and United, we are fighting for fifth, and these three teams have been the more injury struck than anyone else. Chelsea didn't have Europe. Yali, totally agree with that comment, man. Like, at the same time, it's going to be a long road. You know what I mean? Like, if we win, I mean, I know a lot of people are looking at the perspective that, you know, Palace are doing well and Palace is going to pose a threat. Yes, they are. They always pose a threat, in my honest opinion. But you know, if we get it over the line tomorrow, it puts us 3 points clear of Chelsea with the same amount of games played. So they would be chasing us, and we'll be 4 or 5 points ahead of Newcastle. So while it looks, you know, really dire, guys, like I really don't think the squad is gonna capitulate. Like we've drawn some games, you know, we've drawn 3 or 4 games. The last games we've lost one. I feel like, you know, even then, if we lost, we haven't really lost 2 or 3 games in a row this season. Sure, we've lost 2 games, but then we came back and got a victory, or we got a draw in the next game. So it's one of those things where I don't think we're going to keep a run of poor finishes or poor results. You know, I feel like we could definitely get a win out of this game. It's going to be away, but it's definitely going to be a tough one. Mark Davies, if Ten Hag plays Bruno, who's injured, what does that tell you? If Mount is fit, play him. I don't think Ten Hag will play Mount. He will play Bruno. Well, you know, like I honestly would like to see Bruno get a rest. I think it's more important for Bruno to be fully fit and ready for the game against Newcastle and Arsenal than he is to play against Crystal Palace. I think we could compensate for Bruno in the game tomorrow. I would certainly probably, you know, I would stick. I heard Jarvis was saying he would play a midfield of Christian
Mm.
Eriksen next to Kobe Mainu. I mean, I would bring Mount in there, but and if Mount comes in, I'd probably put Garnacho on the bench, put Mount on the wing, and put Ahmad in the middle. You know what I mean? And maybe give Garnacho a little bit of a breather and bring him on in the second half.
Yeah, that's interesting. Interesting. I like Ahmad. You know, he can operate as the false nine, and I like him. He knows how to open up spaces, and that's the you have to have the ability, the vision when you play as the false nine, because basically being the false nine, it's about being an extra man in midfield that's never marked in a way, because you drop down when in the right moment. But it wouldn't give us a lot of pressure up top. We have a Hoyland. I'm not sure about Hoyland. You know, he's up against this Danish center back of Crystal Palace, Anderson, and he's
Yeah.
really good. I remember I saw him last season. He was pocketing Haaland in one of the first game in the Premier League, and he's one of the best. He's super strong. So you know, and he's Danish. He knows Hoyland also. So I think Hoyland will be up for a tough game tomorrow.
You know, the funny bit is I actually wondered, you know, when we played them the first time, how the game would be with Hoyland in the game.
Mm.
Because I feel like in that game we were screaming out for somebody who could hold the ball up, you know, and create chances for our wingers to get in behind. This is why I'm saying, you know, maybe we play Ahmad at the 10, because I feel like Ahmad would give Hoyland a little bit of room to move and be mobile. And, you know, I feel like they might have a good link up together.
Mm.
You
Yeah,
know, I mean,
that's actually
everybody.
a good shout, and I agree because I think also when you see the match with Ahmad against Anderson, and if you have one big guy up against another big guy, you know it's going to be a clash. But you know we can't be that aggressive against Ahmad. Ahmad has a low center of gravity. He's always controls the ball. He knows how to put his body in between the ball and the defender. So if the defender tries to be aggressive, we will have free kicks all the time coming up. So playing Ahmad in that role, I think that will actually be good. But then we have to keep possession and we have to play the ball on the ground. We can't be hoofing it up from Onana to Ahmad. That won't work at all. So it depends on the game plan of Ten Hag. And for me, if you play Mount, Mainu, Ericsson in the midfield, you have ball players who know how to keep possession and can play possession ball. So if you play those three and Ahmad in the false nine position in a way, I think that will be a brilliant tactic, and I would support that.
100%. I think we need to be a little bit creative going into the last run of games, especially with the excess of injuries. And there are some players coming back, but I feel like in some occasions it's better to just do without out them, and for sake of the next season coming up, like a Martinez, leave him out. Like, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him play, honestly, if he comes in a game and he has for 20 minutes or something like that. But I don't want to see him starting and no full 45 minutes or 90 minutes. I
No.
mean, what's the manager to do? I mean, he don't really have much players injured. He don't have much available in defense right now. We might see a youngster come into this team. I think Willie Kwambala should be back in training. I think he was back since Monday. So he might be one to come into the team. You never know. He's been good. Ten Hag
Yeah.
likes him from the way you've seen his performances. I think he will deserve a chance to get a chance. But if we start with Casemiro and Johnny Evans tomorrow, then yeah, it could all change, because then you could bring in Kwambala, push Casemiro into midfield, take out an attacker. You know what I mean? And then you could augment the formation from that point. There's so much you can
The,
do.
the thing with Johnny Evans, I just have to say it. I think we're pushing it. He's an old man. They don't recover as fast. Even though he's back in training, he needs time to get into the rhythm and play a little bit more. He have to have more than a couple of days of training. If we have had available center backs, Johnny Evans wouldn't have been in this discussion at all. He wouldn't even
True.
be in the squad. That's the thing. And now everybody's saying, yeah, Johnny Evans have to start. He's available. No, he's not. He will be injured in 15 minutes if we start him. So for me,
True.
I would put Johnny Evans on the bench if he's available, and I would play someone else like Amrabat, like McTominay. I don't know if he's available, or
Well,
Dallo,
that's the one guy.
Dallo as center back and Amrabat as fullback. I don't know, but you have to figure out something. Don't play Johnny Evans because he will be injured again.
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, I feel like the Amrabat Casemiro duo, that might not be too bad as center backs. I think they should be able to function. You put then you could
It's the
put
pace that worries me, and
well.
yeah.
I mean, in this situation, if you're playing two of them at the back there, then you have to put Dallo on the left and put Wan-Bissaka on the right, because I think Dallo on the left would allow Amrabat to be the one that inverts into midfield, and then he would essentially just play a left center back role, left back role. I
Mhm.
think that might be the way we go. I mean, I see Mark Davies is coming in. If Palace scores the first goal tomorrow, we could struggle against them. I mean,
Yeah.
what's the funny bit for me with Palace? I feel like if I watch their last few games, and they've been playing well, but in their games when they score, they usually give the team two, three, four chances before they get their own selves to create a next chance at goal.
Mm.
And I think the worst thing Palace could do is score against United first tomorrow, especially if they score an early goal. I think if they score an early
Not
goal
the worst
tomorrow,
thing. It won't be
well,
the
not the
worst thing
worst
for
thing,
Palace to
but I
score
think,
first. Yeah,
but I
but I
think
get
you
what you're
see,
saying.
United has been so reactive in some games, right?
Mm.
That if you score early against them and they get focused and their heads don't drop, we will score at least two or three goals because of that.
Mm.
So I'm thinking for it to be a game, Palace has to defend well and take their chances. But I don't see United not creating any chances early. We've been one of the teams that's in the top five for creating early chances and big chances in games this season, which is shocking, despite that we haven't, we are not in the top,
Mm.
the top four, but we have been created the most chances, big chances this season. So it's one of those things where if we find a form of clinicality tomorrow, and it's just funny because you see, I have Hoyland on the thumbnail, and he has been performing so well from injury. But I have a theory. The last time he came back from injury, he took like 4 games before he scored, and he was scoring on a rage. And in the last game we played, I think he got the assist or the goal or something like that, and he hasn't really think. But I think you should look out for him tomorrow
Yeah.
because that game he was missing from the Palace game, and I think that changes a lot because
Mark,
it's going to make
being
them
a
have to think.
striker as Hoyland, first of all, I just want to say big up to Craig Warby. I saw you in the chat. I hadn't had the chance to say hi. But
Big up,
second
Craig.
of all, when it comes to Hoyland, he's a striker, and we know strikers. They need to find the right rhythm. And the thing with Hoyland now, I think, is forcing it. He's forcing his movement. He's sprinting to the first post. He's trying to be first. He's trying to be in the right place, but he's not at the right place at the right time. So he overcommits in a way. And you can't force it as being a striker. You have to play in the natural rhythm. You have to be able to stop sometimes, look around, see what the defender is doing, not only be reactive, like playing on instinct. You have to play with your brains, and this is what Hoyland needs to do. And we saw it when he was in his, I would say, his purple patch earlier this season. He was much better in where he put himself in the 18-yard box, and now I don't see him doing this. So in a way, if I was Ten Hag, I would have taken Hoyland to the side and said, "Look, son, you have to relax, breathe, look around, play with your brain. Don't be. It's too. What's the
Hyper.
what's Yeah, that's the thing.
A
That's
little bit too eager. I
too
mean,
eager.
he's
Yeah.
young, right, Jarvis? And you know what? I feel like I could understand completely because at an age like that, when you're one of the younger players in the squad and you're getting your chances and, you want to deliver just like the senior players. So you're
Mm,
going to do that bit extra. And sometimes less is more, and you
mm,
don't see that as a young person. As a young person, you always think you have to do the most.
mm.
So for me, it's one of those things where I look at it from the perspective that Hoyland, he has been trying to do way too much, and he needs to just slow down. And sometimes don't be the first person to make a run when
Yeah.
to the post. Sometimes stay at the box and make the late run into the box.
Mm. Yeah,
Wait
be
for the
open for a
ball.
cutback or whatever. You have to, because things happens in the box always. It's chaotic. So
Yeah.
you can't just force it being at the right place. You have to be at the right place at the right time.
Well, since like, I mean, I'm the optimistic, positive person, and I know, Jarvis, you're the analyst. I'm gonna bring my buddy Olmo in. Omo, sorry, I always call him Olmo. I don't know why, but Omo, bringing him in because this is he is like the antithesis. He's positive about United, but he's not so positive about the manager as I am. He has his reasons. I respect that. Big up to Omo. What's
Listen,
going on, bro?
hey, big up everyone.
Big up,
My
big up.
reason for the hate for the manager is totally different than everybody else. I'm not the one like, oh, get the manager out. He's losing games. No, I'm not. I'm not about the losing game. Is how you lose the game. Is how you win the game. That's just
Performance.
my thing. The style of play. And this Palace, I'm scared to play against them because the way they play football, like the new manager, the way he has abandoned his wingers and like I'm gonna use Olise and Eze as a double 10 is like to me that just scary because that just means like they're gonna overrun our midfield. And now that we have more players injured, listen, our players being injured, that's a whole nother thing. Like with Ten Hag, I don't want to get I don't like it. I'm gonna partial blame is gonna Ten Hag.
I mean, 100%. Like the manager is always going to have some blame for the performance of the squad.
No,
If
no,
the players
my thing is the injury
and the injuries. I mean, like
they
to be fair, like, but like this is just the funny bit for me. Like, and I can't take away blame from him with injured players because there's some moments he probably say, a player injured, he know, and the player probably say, listen, Gaff, I could give you 60 minutes, no problem.
yeah.
And as a coach, they will probably risk that because at the end of the day,
Some risks have
as
to be
much as they
taken.
want to, develop the team for the future, they need results now, especially at a club like Manchester United. So he gonna
Yeah.
have to hold that among the mistakes that he made in team selections and tactics and stuff like that in games previously. So it's a weird one though, but it's just
Yeah.
so many injuries that that it goes beyond just the manager and just training for me with the abundance of injuries this season.
I think the Palace game is going to be a scary game. Like how we win, I don't know how we score. I don't know how we win. I don't know how we're going to defend against it. Like once that match comes, I'm going to be surprised. Like the only thing I'm worried about is that whole midfield of they have Eze, they have Elise. Who wasn't on that list? They have Walton, the young kid. Like
Mm.
how they're gonna set up against us is just gonna be scary. I don't think our play will be able to handle that. With Neil injured to Maguire, who's gonna play center back? I don't know. Kwamba so injured. Like, are you gonna bring Kington? 2021. 2021 played yesterday, right?
Jack Kendon didn't play yesterday.
But Omo,
No, he played in the Arsenal 6-2 loss, right?
That was not the last game. The last game they played was a 3-1 win.
No, I think it wasn't the he will play in 6-2 loss.
Yeah, but the last game that the under 21s play, they won 3-1.
He didn't play that game. I don't think so, right?
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
He
So
might get fast track. I remember the 6-2. No, I didn't remember the third one. Like he might get fast track. Like I need this person. Like I need this player. Like I need center back. Like you can't just one makeshift is Casemiro. To have two makeshift is horrible. And there's no other option. There's no other option. Maybe like park the bus and just get the draw or scrap it 1-0 win. Like tomorrow game is gonna be an ugly game. Like I expect it to be ugly. I'm not looking for style of play. I'm not gonna blame manager because of style of play tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm looking for an ugly game. It's gonna be ugly, and we are the one that have to make it ugly. Why Paz looking to make it pretty?
to be fair, but Omo, there's a question I wanted to ask Jarvis as well. It's a good thing you're coming tonight, bro, because I just wanted to hear what the two of you all have to think about this. If you look at the last couple games that we play, right? Normally we would struggle against low box, right?
Yes,
But when we play against teams that play a similar expansive attacking style, we have been scoring at least 2 goals against those teams every time we play
yes,
teams like that. And this is why I say it might not be that scary to play against Palace because, everyone thinking about the Palace that we play at the beginning of the season, which was really compact, low block, and they was patient and they hit us on the counter and they took the chances when they could. They were
yes.
extremely dangerous on set pieces as well. But this is a Palace team that also learning a new system, they're playing a new style of play, and they're doing different things while they're trying to be more attacking. I feel like this might be at the one silver lining for Manchester United tomorrow that they're going to be coming at us and not playing back as they usually play, which will give us a little bit more space in attack.
Yes, but they say what this Palace are doing different is they're playing, they're building up. That's the scary thing. That's to me is why it's scary. It's not that they're building up with wingers. Their wingers have come into the midfield, and they have like who's that kid? They have Tariq Mitchell and Daniel Moores. They have become their wing back. They have Nathan Klein playing center back. As in that is why it's scary for me because those two coming into the midfield is compact. So now you have a box midfield that's going against our three or double pivot midfield, and you have wings back that our fullback have to attack. It's like how they set up, so how they've been setting up ever since they got this new manager, and how they're building up is why it's scary. Like the only is Rashford fit. The only way that we could probably win is if we play Rashford and Garnacho, Rashford and Garnacho to hit them with the long ball.
I
It's the only
think
way because they're gonna build up. One person's gonna be behind. It's gonna be a 3 versus 4 on the counter attack. That's the only way I could see a 3 versus 4 on the counter attack with Radford, Hoyle, and Ganacho.
but Olmo, when you say it like that, I want to hear what Jarvis has to say because I wanted to make a counter to that, but after. Jarvis, what are you thinking?
yeah, I'm just thinking how the game will play itself out. They play in a 3-4-2-1 formation. They basically play with wing backs. They don't have much width, so it won't be that hard to defend if you just squeeze in. And I would actually play Anthony because he would be able to track the wing back, and I believe also Garnacho will be able to track the wing back. So I think defensively we will look good in a solid shape. And the thing is, when we have the ball, we can actually exploit the wing backs because there will be acres of space for both Anthony and especially Garnacho to run into and create chances. And especially if we have a ball player like Ericsson on the pitch, sitting a little bit deeper, dropping down to receive the ball. We have Casemiro. We know he can hit a pass. We have and maybe even Amrabat, if he comes in, he can also hit the pass. So suddenly we have a chance because I don't see this Crystal Palace team like, okay, we mentioned Olise and Esse, but are they known for being the best players tracking back? I know they track back more than usually because they defend with Crystal Palace, but I don't know, in this expensive Oliver Glasner style, will they be forced to do a defensive job or will they just sit up with three guys? So I think there will be chances for us just both to exploit the width of the pitch, and we can create overloads if we go with our two number eights with Mainu and Mason Mount. Then we suddenly will attack with 5 to 6 men against their back five, back six, maybe. I don't know the wing backs how they will defend.
Well, I mean, Tyreek Mitchell is a decent defender in my opinion. He gets up and down the field well. I think the real battle for me
Yeah, but
is what
he's no
Hoy.
threat going forward. He
No,
maybe had
he
one
isn't.
assist through the season. He's more of a defensive, and
Defensively.
him playing as a wing back.
But like Olmo was saying just now, when he said Nathaniel Klein playing at centre back, well, this guy for me is the weakest link. If they had a weak
Yeah, we
link
have
in the
pace.
defense,
He have extreme pace.
he
Klein,
have extreme
yeah.
space, but
So he would fit
he
perfectly in the high line.
but he has a mistake in him. He's always have those funny moments in games where he's make a kind of questionable tackle and challenge. So for me, this is why I was saying, if we was to play Ahmad somewhere there, depending on if it's a Mount or Ahmad, we need someone to facilitate Hoyland and to play off of Hoyland, just so we could
Yeah,
draw
but
him.
Mason Mount will do
Yeah,
that job.
one of them, one out of the two. We need
Yeah,
someone to draw
yeah,
him because if you could get Hoyland into some good positions in the game tomorrow night, I think Hoyland will get the better of Anderson.
But
Day for day.
I would actually like Mason Mount to be more of a second striker high up the pitch, pressing, because we want their three centre backs to squeeze in, so we have space on the sides. That's the thing we want. But if Hoyland is there by himself, it's easier for them to shift from one side to the other, leaving two
yeah.
centre backs and one out to the side on the side we are attacking to. So it will be easier for them to defend. But we won't. We have to deny them that option. So we put two
100%.
men because when you defend, you always defend with one plus. So we have to squeeze their back three line to stay compact.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's going to, regardless of what happened and regardless of how much we try to anticipate what Ten Hag is going to do. We've seen in quite a few games this season where he's came with some different type of tactics and it kind of worked. Against Man City, we had a kind of box midfield going on, and everybody thought we were going to get smashed. We ended up leading the game for 60 minutes before mistakes happened and we ended up losing 3-1. So, it might be one of those things where I think Eric Ten Hag has a plan because, like you said, he plays a 3-4-2-1, and there's a team in Holland that plays a 3-4-2-1 just like that. You know what I mean? That's the same formation Feyenoord used to play, and
Fine,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and this other team that played Arsenal last season, PSV Eindhoven plays that same type of formation. So, and they play it in different ways. As you know, Arne Slot is a more kind of possessive manager, and the PSV manager is more of a counter-attacking manager. So, I think Ten Hag will have an idea of the different workings of that type of system, and I think he's been doing his research. And the funny thing for United right now is the underdog situation that everybody has counted us out, and I feel like, for their credit, when they count United out, they always turn up for some reason.
It's a bonus if you count out, so your expectation is lower, and they look at you. I think the last time we won there is 2019. So it's like we are pretty much going in there like kind of like we are going in there like the underdog, not kind of. We are going in there like the underdog. So we have to just find a way and scrap up a win. I think even the last time we could have beat them in their home, right? It was enough for the last kick of the game, or at least a free kick that hit the ball and went in. Like so, like we do have a like. It's been a long time since we won there, but like we can kind of get a win just about utilizing those spaces. And that's
Mm.
yeah. A part of me is like Rashford to play. A part of me is like you've been poor so far this whole season. So there's a decision Ten Hag will have to make,
Yeah.
and also the midfield problem. Like Amrabat's available, Mount is available, Ericsson's available, Mino available, Bruno available. Customers going to the center back row. Like crazy enough, I don't think the manager doing it, but if I'm the manager, I'll be crazy enough and put Dalo as center back and put Wan-Bissaka right back and Amrabat left back. If you're
Mm.
crazy enough, sometimes you gotta just take them risk.
I don't know if you guys can see this. I've been thinking a little bit about how we play out from the back and what we did against who was it, Burnley.
Mm.
We took our two center backs, we dragged them wide on both sides, because they played with the two strikers in a 3-5-2 formation. So we opened up the space in the middle for Ericsson or Mainu to drop down into. But this will not be the case in this game because they play with two narrow number 10s and Mateta as the number 9. So how do we solve it? Because in my head, I put Dallo as center back besides Casemiro, Amrabat on the left back, and Wan-Bissaka on the right back. So
Mm.
basically, when you have wing backs, how can they commit going forward? If we move up our fullbacks, they can't overcommit and be part of the press because then it will be easy for the goalkeeper just to shift the ball over. So they have to stay back, and basically then you will be two center backs plus Ericsson and Mainu and Onana playing against three men pressing, or maybe the fourth. So we should be able with ball players, Casemiro, Ericsson, Mainu, and Dallo and Onana, to play out from the back quite comfortably, even if they try to press us high. And then we have openings because we have Anthony here, we have Garnacho on the other side, and Højlund left alone with one centre back, the Danish guy. So maybe Hughes or Wharton. I think it will be Wharton. Will have to drop down and help out, and it will leave space for Mainu. It will leave space for Mason Mount to exploit in our build-up. So I'm not too negative when it comes to this. I think we can find a way against this system. So Omo, what do you think? Do you think I'm right or am I
No,
onto something?
you're right there. To tell you, I don't want Bruno playing, but I could see the manager playing Bruno. Like the Amrabat at the left back, I like it over there because he knows how to pass the ball. As in, he can play football. I like Dallo back there because my only difference is Dallo and tricky wingers. Eze is a tricky winger. I do not like Dallo against tricky wingers.
I
Hmm.
mean, as I think AJ out for the game tomorrow. He injured.
Oh, okay. So we might have a better chance there. But Wan-Bissaka, this is the thing though. Like Dallas good going forward. Wan-Bissaka is kinda, but he just look weird on the ball. And like that whole space there, that whole left right hand, is it right hand? Yeah, that whole Anthony space there will
Hmm.
have to be key on how we win. I could probably see Mount drifting more to the left and Holland drifting more to where the number 6 is.
Yeah, you speak
And
about this area with
yeah, that
Wan-Bissaka
area
and
right there,
Mitchell. That would be a
that whole space. Like I expect Mino to take that advantage. I expect
mm.
Mount maybe I
Yeah,
kind
but
of see Mount
we have
drifting it.
Wan-Bissaka and Dallo. If Dallo starts as centre back, and they can interchange
Yes,
all the time.
yeah, they have that. I expect Mount to play more on the right hand side. Like if you shift the Mount to Hughes other
Mm.
side.
Yeah, more here
Yeah,
in
I
this
could see that.
area.
Yeah, I could see Mount work there and Hoyland work shift Hoyland drift more to the right
Mm.
to the natural side. Yeah, I could see us like pushing like because the manager likes to man to mark, but if we like kind of zonal mark, man to mark, we could actually get something done here.
Mm. But what I think we will see, and we saw that against the last game, Ericsson always dropping down on the left
Yeah,
side.
yeah. Everton always drop to
So
this
this will
area to
probably
get
be
the
our
ball.
build-up. They will try to find Mainu in the middle. So Mainu against Hughes will be one battle that will be key for this game. Can Mainu work around this space?
I think one more player is missing on the team, Walton.
Yeah, Wharton. Well, someone will have to drop back because you have to be one extra.
Yeah, yes,
or
yes,
one of
yes,
the center backs will have to drop in, and then we will have an opening on
yes, yes,
one
yes,
side or
yes,
the
yes.
other side. So
I didn't see
this
it.
is
I didn't see that.
the dilemma for Crystal Palace.
Yes, it is. Because
Yeah,
all our three players are mobile, as in they could constantly move the players, and hopefully they're interchanging and will mount. They're
Mm,
fast, quick interchanging. Like probably gonna hit them transition like good time in the first half. Probably in the
yeah,
first 25 minutes, we might get a goal or get a shot on target.
yeah, yeah.
and that make a lot of
And
sense.
they
But
like to do quick 1-2s. They like one touch passing around in front of the 18. They like to do 1-2, try to get their shot off because they've been doing that lately. You can see some of the goals they scored versus Newcastle, I believe, and the other one versus what team did they play? We did it be 5-2. Yeah, West Ham and
Mm,
Newcastle. They like to play that 1-2 in front of the penalty box. So that's one thing we got to keep get ready for.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
they'll probably do early, how to come out the box early, pretty much. I think.
The
But
weakness
Also, also they like to
will
also
be
they like
us.
to shoot ball from outside the box as well.
I think the weakness will be us defending because we
Yes,
have Mainu and Ericsson, because they have Ayu and Olise, and they are more like wingers when if
yeah,
SA play, so
that's a scary
they will
part.
overload on the sides against our fullbacks. And how do we solve it? We have to move out with our central midfielders one side. Maybe they drag over, and then we will see again a huge space.
Mount will have to take that position.
Yeah, we will
And,
have
and,
to.
and actually, Anthony's gonna help. Wait, the minor? I don't think so because Anthony is very good in track back. So I could see Anthony going there before Anthony just run there before minor does. Like I could see him
Okay,
run there before minor does.
you see more of a like this.
Yes. My only problem is can Ericsson fast enough to stop the cutbacks? Because that's been our weakness in the beginning of the season.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I don't feel that Casemiro and Dallo is the type of center backs that will just drop down into our own 5 yard box in a way. If you understand, they will be more on the front foot. And
And in terms of front foot, that's also a good thing because that means we are pressing high, and Amrabat can press high, but it's kind of his top speed is not there. But the initial his sprint speed is not there, but his top speed is there. So
mm,
I could see our weakness being the Amrabat Garnacho side. But also another thing is the manager has been playing Dalot with Garnacho on the
mm,
same week every single time this whole season, whether it's left wing or right wing, they're both paired together, except for the last game we played where they were both not paired together, in which Ganacho played somewhere. I forgot where Ganacho played, and Dalot played the opposite wing. That's the one time they have not been paired together.
yeah, yeah.
100%. And
Mark,
I
if you want
think,
to do anything on this, I can send you the link to this, and you can go in and actually control the dots if you
oh,
have
big
ever
up.
tried it. Yeah, tactical board. And it's actually quite cool.
It is. Oh, hold on. Let me. Like I just looking at you all talking about two different ways that they might try to defend us, and something just tell me, I feel like they might bet on leaving Anthony free and letting that defender be the one to be the extra man.
Hmm.
But but
I sent you the link, Omo, in the private chat
Oh,
also,
okay.
if you want to
Yeah,
go into the
I'll play
tactical
around
board
with it.
and think around.
Let me do that. Yeah, yeah, because
I probably need to spend some time with this before I start to tinker, Jarvis. But it's really interesting in the way the two of you all had different approaches in the way that we could set up an attack. Like, you had Mount coming in from the centrally. Olmo has Mount coming in more off the left, and Hoyland more to the right by Garnacho. And looking at those two options, for me, I see all kind of things in my head. Like, I don't know if it's from playing video games or whatnot, but like, I could see where in those situations, if we had that kind of setup, it could work against Palace based on the way they play and the way what I've seen from them this season.
Hmm.
So, I know this is not good. This wasn't meant to be a long stream, guys. It's pretty late on my end, and I have work in the morning. So I'm gonna bring Peter in for him to give his his opinions on what he think is going to happen with the game, with the result against Palace. And then I'm going to go back to you, Jarvis, and you, Olmo. I don't know if Papi's going to come back in because I see he popped in just now, but he disappeared. So, let's just final remarks on what we think is going to happen with the game tomorrow. And, big up because it's going to be match day. Peter, you there?
Alien Tenno.
He's still, I think he loading. I think he's stick.
Yeah.
He will come in
But
just
I just want to say one thing. I saw Craig Warby said if Amrabat can tuck into midfield, they can sure help up the attack. And this is what I've set up now with Amrabat, like inverting in the midfield. And I think that will actually help tremendously when we are trying to build up from the back. And Amrabat is one guy who can do the half turn, receiving the ball and going into attack with it. So that will actually be quite good, because when we have Dallo doing the same thing, he always play the bounce pass or the cutback pass or whatever you call it. Yeah.
100%. Craig, I know you're always coming on the stream now and again when you want. If you want to pop in and have your say before we close, you can always hop in. The link is pinned in the chat, so it's there. And guys, like, it was really interesting to hear the different tactical approaches that the both of you had, because I think slightly a little bit more simpler. And at the same time, I just look at it from perspective, the ratio, the amount of the way the player perform over a certain period of game and the average that they might perform this way or do this again. I kind of look at it with among those averages and work it out. And I feel like, like, although we haven't been performing really well, like the games we lost, we should have won. And, is largely for me a little bit of stuff being out of our control and, little mistakes creeping in that, we gave away like 3 late penalties that put us in a situation to lose and draw 2 games so far in the last couple of games. So, it's not really bad in the sense that, in my opinion, like when I say it's not like they've been cutting us open and killing us. Like we've been cut open at the beginning of the season a lot. In the last half of the season, it's more little mistakes than really teams cutting through us and doing us and having treating us like if we are the babies on the football field. So I just look forward to a decent performance tomorrow night. I need the guys to come out, give their best, and find a win no matter which way how, whether it's 1-0, 2-1, 3-2. They just need to come out there and win tomorrow. Like, I mean, we definitely going to see some end-to-end football tomorrow. I think
I don't want the game to be open ended. I want us to be more in control. I want us to try to keep possession for possession's sake, just to keep the tempo a little bit down. We know we have to accommodate players like Ericsson, and I'm not sure how the fitness level of Mason Mount is at the moment. Can you run high intensity for 90 minutes? I don't think so. So we try to keep down the tempo, try to keep hold of the ball, not wasting possession all the time. You got to cherish the ball when we have the ball and try to do something with it. For me, that will be a good game plan. But do we have the quality?
Yeah, I mean, even though I said it was going to be end-to-end, I still feel like I was about to say that I think we would largely be in control of possession of the game. So, I feel like there were moments in the last 2 games where for the first 35, 45 minutes, we were like in control, composed. We weren't rushing things. We were playing that extra pass, recycling the ball well. So, and I think against a team that are going to be coming at us, it's going to be a little bit easier because, as much as they're going to try to set up well, they're going to come out to attack. They're not going to sit back there and hold like they used to. And, I think against teams like that, United are going to be a stronger, chance at going forward. I don't know what Olmo thinks about it, but after that, you'll just comment on Mark Davies' question, right, Olmo? So after we finish.
What's that?
After you finish, we'll just comment on Mark Davies'
the way
question.
I see it is like I'm looking at the table. They have 40 points. They cannot get relegated. They cannot get European football. So like it's nothing for them. There's nothing for them to prove it. They're just gonna do what they want to do. They're gonna do what they want to do, win or lose. We are the one that we cannot afford the loss. a draw is a minimum that you can get here. If you cannot get the win, just get the scrappy draw and get out. At least if you get the draw, you're in front of Chelsea and you're 1 point behind Newcastle. At least that's okay because you still have to worry about other matches. And listen, we can. I don't think we can drop below ninth place. So like we got something to play for. Like, but losing is not an option. We have a game in hand to catch up to everybody.
Mm.
100%.
Mm.
100%. And Mark Davies asked a really critical question early on. He said, both do you guys think that Ineos has really sacked Eric Ten Hag at the end of the season? And, I don't want him at this club. It's time for him to go. I
My
think that's what
listen, my stance on the manager. Like if they want to sack him, they should just do it right. If they want to say he's gone, just say he's gone at the end of the season. Like look at what they did Barcelona with Xavi. They say he's gone at the end of the season, and now they're signing back. As in they have made a decision. Look at Liverpool. His club is gone. They've come out and made a decision. Like what other team is out there? I forgot Bayern Munich. They have made a decision. Ineos have to make a decision. So pretty much us as fans could know like, okay, this is the road we're going towards. Because now if you're waiting to after the FA Cup, you're waiting too long. Just make the decision right now so we know where we're going. But you want to wait for the FA Cup to calm the fans down? Cool, wait for the FA Cup to calm the fan. But again, Taha has a +1. No man just stay on their final year and just walk and just coach on the final year. They either get their +1 or they're gone. So it's up to Eno to decide now. Like if that for me, if he's here on preseason and he's still coaching, I think he's gone by January December. Like because 18 like 2.5 years period. No man just his last morning there. So 2.5 years gone by December. After the FA Cup, they say he's gone. Those are the only two options. But to say to wait out his final year, nah, he's not waiting. He's gonna sign the +1. They must give him the +1 because like I'm not gonna coach him. Like it makes no sense. Like he's gonna get the +1.
Mm.
Yeah, I think you already have the +1 to be fair. I feel like they may not come out and say it because they don't want to create too much of a distraction or they don't want to create too much of anything right now. They're just leaving things to ride out the way it is. But at the same time, the last few press conferences of this manager has been stark in contrast to what was going on the majority of the season. There was a certain point in time he looked a bit shaken for me, with not just with the pressure, but with the losses and with because it was exasperating how some games we would play well and then the next game just lose. But now it looks like maybe
As
with
in, you know what's
Jason
so funny?
Wilcox and these guys coming in, they probably said to him, look, listen, we will give you this contract, accept, we'll give you a +1, right? We need to know all the problems. We will try to see what we could do in the summer to the best of our ability or what we can do, you know maybe we'll have to bargain shopping to get some players. Maybe we'll have to do it very creatively, bring in some profiles of with some players that come from a different league or
Mm.
with the potential. And yeah, next season we need it to be at the end by December. We need to be somewhere near top four. And I could understand that. I just feel like it's a little bit overreactive to say, well, okay, this guy is a bad coach or he not going to take United forward right now because we could clearly see that, we had this injury crisis. And not only that, there's different things that took away from football at different times in the season when we didn't really need that drama. You know what I mean? We didn't need the drama with Sancho. We didn't need the drama with Greenwood. We didn't need the drama with Anthony. We
Mm.
didn't need the Belfast Babe situation as well. So it's one of those things where I feel prospectively that although I might be a little bit more open to him staying than a lot of fans, I think that prospectively, if you're looking at it from a footballing side, you can't really criticize the manager and say, well, we're going to sack him when you
Mm.
had an injury crisis that was worse than anything you had in a decade. So I feel that takes away from the ability to say, well, listen, let's determine him not good enough. I think that alone is big enough a margin for, the unknown that, they might just go forward one more season because there were moments this season where he had his full squad and we performed well. And if you want to look at last season as a barometer, when he could get results as well.
Yeah. I think when it comes to we as football fans, we often don't understand what's actually going on. And if you're Ineos, they came into power against on Christmas Eve. They were verified a couple of months later. they recently just started a job. How do you assess a manager with the biggest injury crisis the club has ever seen? You know, it's ridiculous, and in a way, I think it's very hard for them too. And I think they are keeping their cards close to their chest at the moment. They don't want to say anything outspoken and starting any rumors about Ten Hag getting sacked or actually Ten Hag staying, because in a way we heard rumors Ten Hag is wanted by Bayern Munich now, he's wanted by Ajax, so he has options. And if they say to Ten Hag, we look elsewhere, how will Ten Hag take that? They need to bet on Ten Hag to the end of the season, and they need Europa League at least because of the revenue, the money that it brings in, because they have plans, they want to do things, they want to sign players, and it will be very difficult with not any extra
You're
money.
100%.
So in a way, and when it comes to the footballing side, we as fans, we look at results, and we are judging Ten Hag with passion and with emotions. But if you actually judge Ten Hag on footballing matters, his reputation is quite high. Yet he did a fantastic job at Ajax, and I think he's a good manager. And is there any options to replacing him? We have heard talks about Southgate and Thomas Tuchel, but I don't think they're anywhere near Ten Hag's level. So as long as there's none of the big manager, like let's say out of the blue, Klopp comes in or Pep or whatever, and that won't happen. We might as well just stick with Ten Hag. I think at least Ineos sees it that way for now. But things can suddenly change, and Omo mentioned December, January, and I agree. Things can happen, but I think he's safe for now.
Yeah, for now, I mean, and I'm sure Olmogan, when he closes with his comments in a few, he will have his say. I mean, I just look at it from the perspective, if we want to progress, we can't be frightful at this moment. We need to take step forward, and this is the one thing that I support the manager on, is maintaining his tactics. I know a lot of people would think that's stubborn, but I just feel like we needed the players who coming in on the fringes to at least, whether or not they could do it well, to practice and try to do what the players who would start was able to do with, in terms of the principles and the formation in the system. And although it broke the patterns of play in somewhat, and it changed things in a lot of times, I feel like next season we will be better for it. And if we was to get, let's say, two young centre backs that could come in as coverage, that have the mobility and the speed to play that high line, yeah, we're gonna have good enough backup, so it might not be as bad next season. When you see rotation happen with players, we're gonna, and we definitely need to finish the season on a high note. If we want to win the FA Cup, we need to at least win three of the last four games, because the players are going to need that mentality boost of having a few wins on the bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. As in, also some players will come back from injury, like Leacher. Like for example, this past game, Leacher should not start. If Leacher want to play Leacher, let's give him 5, 10 minutes. Give him injury time. Just let him play injury time, because you just want him to get the feel of the grass, get the feel of the ball, to run around, to see what it feel like to be in a game time situation. Like, yeah, hell, the ball doesn't have to come to him. Just know what it feel like to be in a game time situation. Just like let him play extra time. Just put feet to grass and just see how it goes. Like if he's fit, if he's not fit, do not put him on. Just keep him off. Like if he's not fit throughout the whole season, don't try to say, "Oh, he's fit for the FA Cup final." Like no, don't risk it. That's just FA Cup final. You lost, you didn't have your players. Cool. Wait till next season.
100%. And guys, I thank you so much for joining me tonight. I know it's pretty late for you, Jarvis. I know Ulmo probably have other stuff to do. It's Sunday. It is. Thank you to Craig. Big up to you, Football Power. I see I was trying to get in, but you didn't get in. Big up to you, Yali, Statman. What we would do it all to you. To all the different stats is always be popping in. There's always be a good banter as well, my bro. All the time. Bestie wasn't here tonight, but he's usually here. And big up to Stephanie Griffith. She was here, but she left early. Mark Davies, I hope that was able to, answer your questions a little bit. I know you're kind of pretty on the side where you would like something new, but you know what? just hold a little faith. I know your boy Mark here, super optimistic, but it's one of those times when you just have to be a little bit optimistic. The season has been so poor, and it's not just for want of performances by players, but with injuries and other different things that happen. That you could only hope that we could only go up from here. And sometimes, in the progression of things, it gets worse before it gets better. It just sucks that it has to be United fans have to deal with this and go through this, but it's at least what I could say about Sir Jim Ratcliffe. As for much of us, that we all wanted a full sale. He has made some good decisions, and the people he has brought in are better than what he had before. So we definitely going to see some improvement, but we're going to have to do this. Give it time. Give it time. I mean, the improvements that they make now and the work that they're doing now, you're probably not going to see the fruit bear of that until next season around the same time. So just be open, guys. Keep the faith. Love United. Hate the Glazers. Your boy Jarvis here. Professor Olmo in the building. Yo, Olmo, I always say Olmo. I don't know why, bro. Sorry.
It's all
Big,
right.
big up to all of you. It's your boy Mark, and you know what? We'll be back tomorrow, guys, because we're gonna do watch along. We're going to be Papi Football Hour watch along, streaming
Match
live
day.
on his channel as well as MUFC Realist TV and my channel, and of course the match reaction on MUFC Real TV with Jarvis and Mick, the other half of the M&Ms. You know how we do it, crunchy and sometimes chocolatey. Big up, everyone. Have a good night. It's Sunday, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Hope you have a good night.